Today I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to place Fords with electronic parking brakes into maintenance mode. Ford began using electronic parking brake systems on a lot of vehicles around 2015. To replace the brake pads on these systems, you have to place it into maintenance mode. And what this does is fully retracts the electronic servo from the caliper piston so you can press it back to install the new brake pads. And when you exit maintenance mode, it will fully apply the electronic parking brake or run the caliper piston all the way out and then retract it to set the air gap on the new brake pads. Vehicles equipped with electronic parking brake systems are easily identified by the black plastic actuator on the back of the caliper. And if you do have to replace a caliper on these vehicles, they do not come with that plastic actuator on the back. It just bolts onto the back. The seals are all within the caliper. There's just a spline shaft that sticks out the back of the caliper that the motor splines onto. It's like a threaded shaft that as the motor turns, it screws it in or out, pushing the caliper piston in or out at the same time. The first way I'm going to show to do this requires no special tools, no scan tool or anything, and then the second way I'm going to show you how to do it with a scan tool. I'm going to be using Forscan Lite, and that's the way I usually prefer to do it, simply because I don't have to memorize the sequence to do this or look it up every time. And the first vehicle we're going to be looking at here today is an F-150 with push button start. If it had a key instead of push button, same procedure, you just turn the key on instead of pushing the button. So to place the electronic parking brake system into maintenance mode with everything turned off, begin by turning the key or the ignition to the on position without starting the engine. Next, press and hold the accelerator pedal to the floor. Next, while still holding the accelerator pedal on the floor, push down on the electronic parking brake switch or push it to the release position and hold it there. Next, while still holding the accelerator pedal on the floor and the electronic parking brake switch down, turn the ignition switch off and back on within 5 seconds. You should see the yellow electronic parking brake symbol on the instrument cluster light up, and you should get a message in the message center that says electronic parking brake maintenance mode. At this point, the electronic parking brake system is fully deactivated. You can release the accelerator pedal and the parking brake switch and turn the key off. The actuators on the caliper should be fully retracted. You can just push the caliper pistons back like normal and replace the brake pads like any other vehicle. The caliper pistons do not have to be rotated or screwed in on this system. They just push in like a standard caliper piston. After brake service, we will have to go through a different procedure to deactivate maintenance mode. After you're done replacing the brake pads, to exit maintenance mode, beginning with everything off, turn the key to the on position, press and hold the accelerator pedal to the floor. This time, instead of pushing down on the electronic parking brake switch, we're going to lift up on it or lift it up into the apply position. While still holding the parking brake switch up and the accelerator pedal to the floor, turn the ignition key off and back on within 5 seconds. At this point, it will fully run out the actuators on the calipers to apply the electronic parking brake, and then we'll back them off to set the air gap between the brake pad and the rotor. You should see the messages on the instrument cluster go away and everything should return to normal. The second way I'm going to show you to put the parking brake system into maintenance mode is with Forscan Lite, and I'm just running this on an iPhone with a OBD2 Bluetooth adapter. If you're not aware, the parking brake system is ran by the ABS module, and the switch on the dash is just an input to the ABS module using reference voltage. If you work on Fords and you haven't discovered Forscan yet, you're missing out. I'm going to be using an OBD2 Link MX Plus adapter. And this is definitely the way that I normally do it. I don't have to memorize the procedure. So I do this just often enough to not have it memorized and have to look it up every time. And this way I don't have to look anything up. It's quick, it's easy. So I've already clicked the connect button and it's currently reading all the modules on the vehicle. It also pulls the codes on all the modules too if you want to look at those. This will take a minute or two. We're well over 50 computer modules on a lot of the newer vehicles. Now after that's done, and we can tell because the little gauge stopped moving, we're going to click on the service button. That's going to open up a menu with all the service functions available for each module on the vehicle. We're going to scroll down to the ABS module. And we're going to check the box next to enter electric parking brake mode. Next, we're going to click the run button in the lower left corner of the screen. And a prompt's going to come up telling us what this procedure does, anything specific we need to do to run it. We're just going to click OK. And it's going to take it about 15 seconds to establish communication with the ABS module and put it into maintenance mode. So we're just going to wait for a second here. Okay, and it's in maintenance mode. At this point, you should see a message come up on the instrument cluster that says parking brake maintenance mode. This lets you know that it's fully retracted the parking brake actuators and that they're locked there. Once it's in maintenance mode, you can shut the key off and install brake pads on it like any other vehicle. After we're done servicing the brake system, we're going to go ahead and turn the key back on and reestablish communication with Forscan. So I'm going to click the connect button again. Once it's all done with that, we're going to go ahead and click on the blue service icon in the lower right corner again. We're going to scroll down to anti-lock brakes. This time we're going to select exit electric parking brake maintenance mode. We'll go ahead and click the OK button again. Give it about 15 seconds to communicate with the module and run the procedure. Once we see the message come up on the screen that it's complete, it will go ahead and run the parking brake actuators all the way out and then back them off to set the air gap between the brake pads and the rotor. And we should see the message on our instrument cluster go away. If you found this helpful or interesting, please click the like button down below. We got a lot more great stuff coming up, so please subscribe. As always, have a great week.